Good evening, student. Good evening, student. Connected, ma'am.
Okay. So, good day all. We'll be starting with test assistant for today. Anand. Essay 16. Using the work of internal auditors. So, what this standard is all about public parking now? External auditors, when they don't have adequate time or when they need assistance from internal auditors, they can get the result of their work. Whose work? Internal auditors' work. So, external auditor to complete their task, complete their work, that is to give audit opinion, they need to have proper audit evidence, right? So, instead of directly obtaining the audit evidence, they are going to use the work of internal auditors. So, see, not all the works can be used for. We will see what are the works we can use from the internal auditors, what are the works you cannot use of the other. Okay, so depending upon all the criteria, how the internal auditors are going to be supportive to the external auditors for them to give their audit opinion. Okay, so objective enna external auditors, internal auditors work use பண்ணி audit opinion கொடுக்க போறாங்க. What are the points to be noted here to பார்த்தீங்கன்னா external auditor cannot depend completely on the work of internal auditors. That is point number 1. Okay, so அவங்க பண்ண work மட்டுமே வச்சு audit opinion கொடுக்க கூடாது. That is not accepted. Only a part of thing can be taken into account. Okay, so that is the first point to be considered. Second, பார்த்தீங்கன்னா not all the works done by the internal auditor can be accepted. Okay, again, there are certain criteria should be fulfilled. If those criteria are fulfilled, that can be taken into account. If not, you have to reject it. Got it? So this is how it works. So who the internal auditors are going to be, that also makes a major impact here. So internal control particularly internal audit. Who are internal auditors? See, statutory auditor, external auditor, you have qualifications. What is the qualification to be an internal auditor, Pa?
Chartered accountant.
Internal auditor கண்டிப்பா chartered accountant இருக்கணுமா?
No, ma'am.
Then what is the qualification? Okay, we will see the video. Yes, right. Chartered accountant, COP practice, certificate of practice, which is we know all those. And what is the qualification required to be an internal auditor? We have never seen anywhere, right? So, basically, to be an internal auditor, in law, there is no proper qualification. See, knowledge of audit has to be there, knowledge of taxation has to be there, knowledge of accounting has to be there, so long it in the prescribed qualification. இருக்கணும் அப்படின்றது they have not defined anywhere, which means you can appoint anybody as internal auditor as you wish, depending upon the policy of the company. உங்க கம்பெனில என்ன பாலிசி நீங்க வச்சிருக்கீங்களோ அதை பேஸ் பண்ணி you can appoint an internal auditor. So here is where the issue is. If a statutory auditor, they are obtaining the evidence to give audit opinion. So அவங்க obtain if the audit evidence பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா they have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they have the qualification. But here, being an internal auditor, not all internal auditors, there are certain internal auditors who may be less qualified. They do not have much exposure to all these areas. So output evidence and everybody use பண்றது. So that comes an issue. So in this issues எல்லாமே நம்ம one by one we will see. Okay. First, defining the internal audit function. So internal audit function na enna? So it basically is an assurance and consulting activity. It is designed for what? To improve the effectiveness of entities governance and risk management and internal control processes. It is going to concentrate on 3 areas. One is governance, then risk management, then internal control processes. So in the process, எல்லாமே ப்ராப்பரா இருக்கா இல்லையான்னு கவனம் பண்றதுதான் இந்த internal auditor function. Okay. So in few scopes and objectives எப்படி இருக்க போகுது? First, with respect to governance, what is your ethical and values of your entity? உங்க entityயோட ethical and moral values என்னது? And what is the performance management? To whom are you accountable? What are the risk control issues you are facing? உங்க entity organization what is the effectiveness of communication? So who are the people who are charged with governance? Other sectoral the people or communication எப்படி இருக்கு? They should communicate with each other. Yeah. So if there is a lack of communication issue, then it is an issue that has to be treated. Okay. And how internal and external auditors are? How well are they with each other? All this has to be covered when it comes to governance. Second perspective is activities relating to risk management. So we know that audit is always exposed to risk, right? So what are the risks which is being exposed? How it is going to be managed? So என்னென்ன risk ஜாஸ்தி இருக்கு? இந்த risk how are you going to manage it? Risk management policies what do you have? And with respect to internal control, what are the possible risks? And what are the risk management policies for the risk which you have found out? And internal auditல ஏதாவது fraud நடந்திருக்கா? Entity it has to help the entity to detect the fraud, right? So internal audit function basically என்னப்பா இருக்க போகுது? அவங்க என்டிட்டில எந்த மெட்டீரியல் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் இருக்க கூடாது, ரூல்ஸ் அண்ட் ரெகுலேஷன்ஸ் ஃபாலோ பண்ணிருக்கணும், ஃப்ராட்ஸ் அண்ட் எரர்ஸ் இருக்க கூடாது. சோ இது எல்லாத்தையுமே எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டர் தான் பார்க்கணும்ன்றது கிடையாது. இன்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டர் ஃபங்க்ஷன் இஸ் ஆல்சோ டு லுக் ஃபார் such kind of fraud if any which is existing in your entity. Okay. And internal control பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் internal auditor should also evaluate the internal control. Internal control எப்படி work ஆகுது, how the operation is, and ஏதாவது improvement இருந்தா the internal auditor can recommend. So it will not wait for the external auditor to come check and recommend any improvements. If at all the internal auditor found any improvements to be made, that can be made in there. Okay. So it's a major function of the internal auditor. So study and evaluate and give improvements or recommendations to the internal control. Next, examination of financial and operating information. Financial information இருக்கும், operating information இருக்கும். All these has to be examined by the internal auditor also. Be any transaction, be any information, identify, recognize, measure, classify and report properly. And information எப்படி report பண்றது? So identify பண்றது தெரியும், recognize பண்றது தெரியும், measure பண்றது தெரியும், classify பண்றது தெரியும். இதெல்லாம் proper report பண்ணணும். Okay. So if legal issues இருந்தா the internal auditor can actually take a query. இந்த items பத்தின information உங்களுக்கு வேணும் அப்படினா inquire பண்ணலாம். Who the internal auditor can do. Review of operating activities. உங்க entity இருக்க operation என்னது? அது எக்கனாமிக்கலா இருக்கா, எஃபிஷியன்ட்டா இருக்கா, எஃபெக்டிவா இருக்கா, இதெல்லாம் confirm meaning another DFC. Similarly, non-financial activities this has to take place. The operating activities in both it includes both financial and non-financial activities. And the aspect economical, effective, efficient, and you have to check. And review of compliance with laws and regulations. Unga entity unga management what are the rules applicable, what are the laws applicable, what are the management policies applicable, இதெல்லாம் ப்ராப்பரா ஃபாலோ பண்ணிருக்காங்களா இல்லையா? See, if you are manufacturing concern அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா permission of the entity அதுக்குள்ள ஏதாவது rules and regulations இருக்கான டெஃபினட்டா இருக்கு. So along with company law, taxation laws, accounting laws, இந்த மாதிரியான external policies ஏதாவது இருக்கு, உங்க entity யூனிக்கா ஏதாவது இருக்கு அப்படின்னா even that has to be taken into account only. Okay, so these are going to be the basic functions of internal auditor and internal control. Okay, ways in which external auditor make use of function of purposes of auditing. In the aspect of the external auditor, in the purposes of auditor use பண்ணிக்க முடியும். Internal auditor பண்ணிட்டு works, internal auditor function is இதெல்லாம் சொல்லிட்டோம். In what are the ways this external auditor can make use of this? So, internal auditor பாத்தீங்கன்னா first, internal auditor என்ன பண்ண போறாரு? Risk of material statement இருக்கா, due to fraud and error check பண்ண போறாரு. So, இந்த information external auditor use பண்ணிக்கலாம். And unless otherwise prohibited, அவரோட work internal auditor பண்ணிட்ட work, it may be complete work or it may be partial work, இதை external auditor evidence submit பண்ணலாம். The only point to be noted is இதை மட்டுமே submit பண்ணக்கூடாது. Okay, so internal auditor our panna work audit evidence external auditor can use it. The thing to be noted is இது மட்டும்தா 100% evidence இருக்கக்கூடாது. He should also work towards his work. இவரோட objective என்ன, இவரோட duty என்ன, அதை இவர் பார்க்கணும். அவர் evidence collect பண்ணும்போது he is looking for the internal auditor's support. Internal auditor's support கிடைச்சது அப்படிங்கிற பட்சத்துல what are the points to be noted அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா internal auditor qualification, the quality of work of internal auditor. If all these are good, then audit evidence can be submitted from the work of internal auditor himself. Got it? Next is what are the laws and regulations which is applicable for your company, and if the internal auditor has already assumed all these has already concluded all things now, then that can be confirmed by the external auditor. And if required, if any direct assistance is required, see external auditor is going to perform a physical inventory. Okay, in that situation, if external auditor requires internal auditor to provide direct assistance, then the external auditor can provide. So our data போய் work பண்ணாம என்ன பண்ணலாம், internal auditor you go and do the physical count and see how you are doing. So our data பண்றதுக்கு பதிலா internal auditor can perform the task. This external auditor will just sit and supervise how this person is doing. So இதெல்லாம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா internal auditor external auditor internal auditor to support மாதிரிப்பா. Got it? So this can also be included as the work which can be utilized from the work of internal auditor by the external auditor. And scope of using SA6 step. In a scope அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா internal auditor function வச்சு எப்படி audit evidence update பண்றது, internal auditors direct assistance provide பண்ணலாம் ஒரு சில situationல. For the external auditor இது ரெண்டு தான் basic objective இருக்க போகுதுப்பா. So external auditor தான் யூஸ் பண்ண போறாரு, யாரு யூஸ் பண்ண போறாங்க, internal auditor யூஸ் பண்ண போறாங்க. ரெண்டு perspectiveல one is to give audit evidence directly. Data internal auditor you work பண்ணிட்டு work நான் எடுத்து audit evidence submit பண்ணிக்கலாம். The point to be noted here, once again I am telling you, this alone cannot be submitted as audit evidence. Along with the other audit evidences, இதையும் ஒரு audit evidence submit பண்ணலாம். Next is using the internal auditors to provide direct assistance. External auditor is going to actually conduct the physical inventory. This is just an example. But who can be used? Internal auditor can be used as direct assistance instead of the engagement members. Usually, we external auditor will come along with him and engage engagement team will come. So engagement team will the auditor assistant or the manager, so they will perform the other duties to perform. But here, the external auditor is using the internal auditor. Okay. So, internal auditor work it can be used. External auditor responsibility for the audit. See, our engagement team we have seen a point. Even though engagement team is article assistants, other managers, other employees and staffs of the auditors, but still, who is going to sign the audit report? Auditor is going to sign it, right? So, who is the ultimate sole responsibility? It is going to be the auditor only. Similarly, even though the external auditor is using the work of internal auditor, right? He is using the work, he is using the evidence which is being obtained with the internal auditor, he is actually using internal auditor to be his assistant, right? So, in the assistant, all work receive money, ultimate objective of sole responsibility for the audit opinion which is being expressed is definitely the responsibility of the external auditor only. Just because he has used the internal audit function, in no way internal auditor will be responsible for. Why? Because the internal auditor's objective is different, external auditor's objective is different. So, even the objective is almost more or less like the management employee. Management or employee independency will be not as much as the external auditor enjoys. So, even though all the works which can be used as a supporting documents, this internal auditor cannot be liable. So, internal auditors independent, not that extent what the external auditor is independent. Okay, so wherever necessary, the external auditor can use the work of internal auditors, but definitely the work output in the work proper and the work for quality, everything has to be checked by the external auditor only. Sufficiency, appropriateness, or framework, all this has to be checked by the external auditor. Only then it can be utilized as the evidence. Even though it's after all this, he uses, still external auditor is the only person who is going to be sole responsible for the audit opinion which is being expressed. Internal auditor is a responsible person who will review. Okay. Objectives of external auditor. That entity has internal audit function. Internal audit function what will be the objectives of the external auditor? After the internal audit function all the functions of internal works will be done by the internal auditor himself. Right? First, in the internal audit function, proper and management expert so management expert will be hired, but as the management expert competent person external auditor has to check in. Similarly, in case of internal audit function, the quality of the work of internal audit has to be checked by the external auditor. It is checked by the government, it can be used or not up to the determined. So, what extent it can be used, how far it can be used, in which areas it can be used up to the external auditor has to sit, work and then decide. And in a audit purpose is adequate, are these evidences adequate, sufficient, appropriate, adequate, the external auditor has to decide. Okay. Next, if internal auditors are being used to provide direct assistance, then the external auditor should sit and supervise. Our work review. You go and do the physical inventory of your work, even if you don't have auditor, the external auditor cannot sit back and relax. No. All this can be done in whose supervision? In the external auditor's supervision. Okay. So 3 points should be kept in mind. First one is this can be used, but have to determine to what extent it can be used. That we have to check. Second, you have to check for the adequacy, whether it is sufficient, whether it is adequate, whether it is appropriate. Even though the internal auditor is providing the external auditor has to supervise and decide whether these works can be done or not. So, If not, it can be completely ignored. Okay. Evaluating the internal audit function. So external auditor audit procedure how can be evaluated அப்படிங்கறத நம்ம பார்த்திருக்கோம். Similarly, how are you going to evaluate the internal audit function? First, check the objectivity of internal auditor. What is their objective? What is their policy? What is the procedure they follow? You have to evaluate that. Second, check the competence of the function. How far they are capable? What is the competency they have? What is the knowledge they have? What is the skill they have? You have to check that. Third is, what is the function you are applying? It should be systematic, it should be disciplined, including your quality control. So, ஏதோ function இருக்கு ரஃபா நான் படுத்து just like that I cannot go and apply. The functions should be systematic. Secondly, it should be disciplined. ரெண்டு approach இருக்கணும்பா. So, talking about the objectivity and competence. So, external auditor will have professional judgment, right? Or another words is அதே professional judgment ஓட he should decide whether the work of internal auditor can be used or not. Purposes of audit இதோட work accept பண்ணிக்கலாமா accept பண்ணிக்க கூடாதா. All this has to be decided by the auditor, the external auditor. Okay, so what is the level of competence they have? What is the policy they are following? What is the procedure they are following? And what is the nature and extent of work they are doing? Under what circumstances they are doing? All this has to be checked by the auditor. I'm talking about the objectivity and evaluation. What do you mean by objectivity? You are doing the work without any bias, without any partiality, without any favoritism. The work has to be done. And there should be, if at all there is a conflict of interest, then you have to seek for the actuality. And conflict of interest, let's say two different perspectives, two different conflict. How are you going to come to a conclusion? Undue influence. What do you mean by undue influence? Contract participating in layer. So you are using your power to influence somebody in a wrong way. So in the management, the code bias is the conflict of interest. What is the conflict of interest with the management? Internal auditor management conflict automatically the management will overpower the internal auditor, right? So protection auditor can't put here. But in case of internal auditor, that can be easily done. So in the management, how are you going to handle it? Auditor has to sit and see whether they have the ability to do this work or not. If at all there is an undue influence, how are they reacting to it? Influence all this has to be seen. Only then this can be taken as evidence. Next, employment decisions ஏதாவது இருக்கு அப்படின்னா அது ப்ராப்பரா ஹேண்டில் பண்றாங்களா இல்ல அத just like that அவங்க ஓவர்சீ பண்றாங்களா, which means they are not following or following the employment decisions. Remuneration policy எல்லாம் எப்படி இருக்கு? See, just because you like some employee, the remuneration policy cannot change for that particular employee alone. What is the remuneration policy? That has to be applicable to the entire organization in a similar way. So, இது எல்லாமே செக் பண்ணிக்கணும். And ஏதாவது constraints இருக்கா, ஏதாவது restrictions இருக்கா? See, management அவங்க என்ன rules and regulations வச்சிருக்காங்க. Internal auditor, external auditor கிட்ட இந்த விஷயம் கம்யூனிகேட் பண்ணக்கூடாதுன்னு ஏதாவது சொல்லியிருக்காங்களா? If at all there is any restrictions or constraint, then the matter has to be taken seriously. எதுக்காக இதை ரெஸ்ட்ரிக்ட் பண்றாங்க, எதுக்காக இந்த கன்ஸ்ட்ரெயின்ட் சொல்றாங்க, இந்த இன்டர்னல் ஆடிட் ஃபங்க்ஷனோட ஃபைண்டிங்ஸ் எதுக்காக ஆடிட்டர் கிட்ட கொடுக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க. All this has to be checked out. And see, கொடுக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லிருக்காங்கன்னு இன்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டர் ஆப்வியஸ்லி எக்ஸ்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டர் டைரக்டா சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. பட் இதெல்லாமே நீங்க நீங்க உட்கார்ந்து டீடைல்ஸ்லாம் வாங்கி you have to decide எதுக்கு இதை கொடுக்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க, அப்ப கொடுக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லிருக்காங்களா. You have to decide. You have to sit and decide. Okay. Conflicting responsibilities available irukka, which means there should not be any conflicting responsibilities. Managerial responsibilities are irukkum, operational responsibilities are irukkum, எந்த ஒரு conflicting issues இருக்கக்கூடாது. Why? Because conflict இருக்கு அப்படின்னாலே ஈஸியா இந்த ஆடிட்டர்ஸ் அவங்க வந்து மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் என்ன சொல்றாங்களோ அதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணுவாங்க. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சிச்சுவேஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் இவங்க எவிடன்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கலாமான்னு கேட்டா அது ஆன்சர்ஸ் கிடைக்கும். ஓகே. Confidence and evaluation. Confidence தான் வேணும், right? So என்ன knowledge இருக்கு, என்ன skills இருக்கு, இந்த பண்றதுக்கான எபிலிட்டி அவங்களுக்கு இருக்கா இல்லையா செக் பண்றது இந்த காம்பிடன்ஸ். So proper resource இருக்கா இல்லையா இந்த internal audit functionல, whether they have proper resource based on your entity's nature of operation. உங்க என்டிட்டில ஆபரேஷன் பண்றதுக்கான ரிசோர்ஸ் அவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கா இல்லையா. What in the internal audit engagements, see as I said, internal auditors they don't have any prescribed qualification to be an internal auditor. So what is the policy for hiring, training, assigning the internal auditors? பெரிய பெரிய கம்பெனிஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா சார்ட் அக்கவுண்டன்ஸே இன்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டர்ஸ் தான் இருப்பாங்க. Got it? So they will not be holding any certificate of practice at all. அவங்க எம்ப்ளாயியா இன்டர்னல் ஆடிட்டரா கம்பெனிஸ் கீழ ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க. So அப்ப அவங்க கம்பெனியோட பாலிசி என்னவா இருக்கு? Even though you are an internal auditor, you should be a chartered accountant. நம்ம மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் பாலிசில வச்சிருந்தாங்கன்னா then the quality will be much higher. Got it? So what is the policy they have? How are they going to hire, train and assign the internal auditors work? And proper technical training கொடுத்திருக்கீங்களா? If at all FPA சம்பளம் நீங்க internal auditor recruit பண்றீங்க. So do they have adequate training to handle the financial statements? Do they have adequate technical training to handle the internal controls? In the auditing தேவையான knowledge அவங்களுக்கு இருக்குது இல்லையா? And what are the other reporting factors? Financial reporting இப்படிதான் பண்ணணும்னு we have rules and regulations, right? So இதெல்லாம் இந்த internal auditor தெரியுமா இல்லையா வந்து you have to check. So இதெல்லாம் internal auditor தெரியல அப்படின்னா this person is not competent enough. So competent இருக்காரு அப்படின்னா இது எல்லா பாயிண்ட்டும் சேர்ந்து number of his competency. Got it? And we also know audit னு வந்தாலே everything is continuing only. Overall objectivity and competence check பண்ணிட்டு you cannot just leave out. So whatever the updates which is being happened, standards section ஏதாவது ஒரு updates கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, notification கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, ஏதாவது changes கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, amendment வந்திருக்கு அப்படின்னா the competent based on the understanding of the internal auditor. So அவங்களுக்கு அதை understand பண்ணி interpret பண்ணி apply பண்ண தெரியணும். If not, the person is not competent. The person should be sufficiently competent enough to understand everything happening. So entity order status, policies, இது எல்லாமே பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு அப்டேட்டடா இருக்கணும். But once ஒரு தடவை செக் பண்ணாலும் that's not enough. It is a continuous process. Application of systematic and disciplined approach. And external control வந்து நம்ம பாத்தீங்கன்னா அடிக்கடி பேசிருக்கோம். Exist ஆகணும், throughout the year exist ஆகணும், consistent exist ஆகணும். Similarly, whatever the approach you follow for your internal auditing, that should be systematic and as well as that disciplined way. So excuse me. So internal auditor வந்து our systematic and disciplined அவரோட policies follow பண்ணால் then external auditor will take it in a positive way and take it forward. Cannot be taken into account இல்லையா? So risk assessmentல இருக்கட்டும், work programs இருக்கட்டும், documentingல இருக்கட்டும், இந்த மாதிரி aspectsலாம் if it is good, then that will be taken by the external auditor. Similarly, what is the quality control policy you have? So அதுக்கு தனியா policies and procedures வச்சிருந்தாங்கன்னா this can be directly taken by the external auditor. Okay? So yeah, here comes the important area where circumstances when the work of internal audit function cannot be used. இது வரைக்கும் இந்த சிச்சுவேஷன்ல யூஸ் பண்ணலாம் அப்படிங்கறத பார்த்தோம். Here we will be discussing three aspects where your internal auditor's work cannot be considered about. First, you are not clear with the adequate policy and procedure. This policy and procedure are not enough or not adequate to support the objective. Auditor objective என்னங்கறத பார்க்கணும்னு சொல்லிருந்தோம் இல்லையா? The policies and procedure are not enough to support the objective adequately. In that situation, you will not be able to use the work of internal auditor. Second, the internal audit function has no competency. Competence level ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கு or it is not enough. Third, பாத்தீங்கன்னா there is no systematic and disciplined approach. அங்க எதெல்லாம் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்தோமோ அதெல்லாம் இல்ல அப்படின்னா that should not be taken into account கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. Okay? So இந்த மூணு பாயிண்ட்ஸ் இருக்கணும் நம்ம பார்த்தோம். ப்ராப்பர் அப்ஜெக்டிவ் இருக்கணும், ப்ராப்பர் காம்பிடன்சி இருக்கணும், சிஸ்டமேட்டிக் அண்ட் டிசிப்ளின்ட் அப்ரோச் இருக்கணும். external auditor will cap off. Internal auditor function the points not that will not be taken into account at all. Okay. Next, determining the nature and extent of work of internal audit function that can be used. So, in the aspect to what extent internal auditor's function can be used. As I said, 100% of audit evidence cannot be obtained from internal audit function alone. So, audit but he will go through the overall performance of internal audit team. So, when the work start perform all these will be taken into account. What is its nature? What is its scope of work? All this will be taken into account. And then, what is favorable to the external auditor that will be taken into account. Example, so this is internal auditor already proper external auditor will take it into account. Okay, so 95 is the circumstances in which external auditor shall plan to use less of work of internal audit function and perform more of work directly. See, what can be the scenarios for? One, external auditor, internal auditor work பண்ணிருக்கிறத accept பண்ணலாம் இல்ல reject பண்ணலாம். There is another scenario where in the internal audit function to a certain extent it is accepted, but certain extent it is not accepted, which means our பண்ணிருக்க ஒரு சில work accept பண்ணிக்கிறாங்க, ஒரு சில work accept பண்ணல. So accept பண்ணாத work என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, டைரக்டா அவங்களே அதுக்கான audit evidences create பண்ணிப்பாங்க. That audit will be conducted by the external auditor. Got it? So எந்த இடத்துல பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா auditor வந்து மேஜரா first is when you involve judgment. Audit procedure என்ன audit procedure நான் follow பண்றது, என்ன perform பண்றது, என்ன plan பண்றது, audit evidence எப்படி evaluate பண்றது, gather பண்ண audit evidence எப்படி evaluate பண்றது. Whenever there's a highest risk of material misstatement. See, if it is lower level of material misstatement, then it will not worry. If the material misstatement risk is higher, then all the decisions should be taken by the external auditor only. And if there is lesser support of policies and procedural formalities from the internal auditors, the objectivity to take the policies and procedures, then automatically this will be considered very low only. And lower level of competence, as I said, competency is important. Competence is the only very lower level of the situation. Then to certain extent only this will be taken into account, but balance for the major statutory auditors, external auditors, in the work பண்ணிடுவாங்க. Okay? Using the work of internal audit function. So auditor எப்போ internal audit function வந்து use பண்ணலாம். So as discussed above, என்னென்ன aspectல இந்த work அவங்க எடுத்துட்டு போறாங்க. Internal audit function பத்தின plans எல்லாமே read பண்ணி அந்த procedure எல்லாமே ப்ராப்பரா இருக்கு, அந்த findings எல்லாமே கரெக்டா இருக்குன்னா யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். And sufficient audit procedure அவங்க ஃபாலோ பண்ணிருக்காங்க. And adequacy. அவங்க அப்டேட் பண்ணிருக்க எவிடன்ஸ் எல்லாமே adequate-ஆ இருக்குன்னா இந்த situations எல்லாம் the work of internal auditors can be used by the external auditors directly. Got it? So discussion and coordination with internal audit function. So internal audit function or coordination report, how are you going to discuss? Timing of work, nature of work, extent of coverage, materiality, proposed, what are the items to be selected, what is the sample size, documentation and review. In the எல்லாமே சேர்ந்து தான் internal audit. So இதையும் நீங்க வந்து has to be considered. And external auditor internal auditor there should be a coordination. So எந்த intervals நம்ம மீட் discuss பண்ணலாம். Right? What is the interval that has to be taken into account throughout the period of the interview? Okay. So external auditor informs internal auditor what are the things which affects the function of its auditor. See, external auditor will have a wider knowledge than internal auditor by default. Or exceptions will change. So in the function importance ஜாஸ்தி கொடுக்கும் அப்படிங்கறத பத்தி they can discuss and decide. And என்னென்ன reports submit பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா அந்த reports go through பண்ணி the external auditor can decide for. So அந்த report என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்க, அந்த external auditor work all these can be taken into account. So in where areas where to what extent internal auditor work can be used to provide direct assistance. See, direct assistance என்ன நம்ம பார்த்தோம், external auditor தான் supervise பண்ண போறாரு, but internal auditor அந்த work perform பண்ண, அந்த audit procedure perform பண்ண போறாரு. Okay, external auditor will just sit and supervise, but external auditor may be prohibited by law or regulation from obtaining some direct assistance of the internal auditors. See, in the situation, external auditor, internal auditor work there are certain instances where the internal auditor do not have competence. And the internal auditor can work for the competence and the knowledge objectivity is correct, which means the bias that the chances is good. So in the situations, internal auditor work external auditor doesn't consider. See, direct prohibition and the clause, but this is the scenario that is considered to be prohibited by law only. So confidence is our work for the accept. Our bias so these situations can cause a threat. So in the situations, it should not be taken into account. Okay, so the external auditor shall not use the work of internal auditor to provide direct assistance if there is a threat to the objectivity, lacks sufficient competence. In the scenario, the external auditor will not use the work of internal auditor. So in the situation, the external auditor judgment is greater on areas. Judgment should always be the external auditor only. And in this higher level of misstatement is the chance. Higher risk of material misstatement, external auditor only has to decide the thing what has to be done not into the solution. And see, if any of the work which is being done by the internal auditor already, but that is not satisfactory enough. So, internal auditor பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அவர் involved தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருப்பாரு, but அது already management கிட்ட report பண்ணிட்டாரு. But still, if external auditor wants அப்படின்னா அவர் என்ன பண்ணிக்கலாம்னா அவர் அந்த work review பண்ணிக்கலாம். They do not need to involve internal auditor alone completely. And external auditor decide பண்ணணும் as per standards on auditing அப்படின்னா only external auditor has to do, internal auditor cannot play it here. And prior to using internal auditors to provide direct assistance for the purpose of audit, see, internal auditor direct assistance call பண்ண போறேன். See, I am going to conduct an audit. You as an internal auditor, you are going to provide me a direct assistance. So in the assistance, internal auditor கூப்பிடுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி what are the things the auditor has to do? Obtain written agreement. And the internal auditor from an authorized representative from the whole internal auditing, get a written agreement. The external auditor will give you certain instructions, and the internal auditor will perform the instruction which is being given by the external auditor. And in the entities, the entity should not intervene in the work. So this is going to be completely between external auditor and internal auditor. None of the matters which is being discussed or which is executed should not be acknowledged by the entity. Entity ku badikku theriyama seiradhu kedaiyadhu. It is a kind of independence. If the internal auditor by the entity is solid irundar appadina, the purpose will become waste. So obviously it is going to be a written agreement from the authorized representative of the entity. Okay. Next. If at all there are any confidential matters, so in confidential part you should not inform to the entity abhina, then the internal auditor should not inform it to the entity. In the written agreement it has to be received. Internal auditor or written agreement confidential matters வந்து external auditor immediately. Okay, if this both goes well, then நீங்க என்ன பண்ணலாம் அப்படின்னா external auditor நீங்க வந்து ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். சாரி, internal auditor வந்து அவங்க direct assistant ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். Got it? Basics of internal financial control and reporting requirements. எங்க பார்த்த மாதிரி இருக்கா? Internal financial control over financial reporting எங்க பார்த்தோம்? Chapter 3 ல. Got it? So what is the basic difference between internal financial control and internal control over financial reporting? Internal financial control is nothing but what is the policy you follow, what is the procedure you follow, what the company is following. And related financial reporting, operational sufficiency and effectiveness, rules and regulations are followed, asset safeguard, fraud analysis, prevent detect this objective which follow this internal financial control. Financial control internally will work that this way only. These will be the objective for them. But internal control over financial reporting therefore required a bit particular when auditor is supposed to give opinion. Entity or effectiveness but the opinion கொடுக்க. So அந்த opinion என்னவா இருக்க போகுது அப்படின்னா that is alternate to the opinion just given on the financial statement. So whenever opinion comes into play, then internal control over financial reporting is required. அப்படி இல்ல அப்படின்னா this itself will be less. Okay, so internal financial control is going to be a wider term where internal control over financial reporting is narrower. ஏன்னா this talks only about the opinion. Ultimately objective opinion ஆக இருக்க போகுது. But still இங்க objective பாத்தீங்கன்னா அப்படின்னா it includes everything. So this is somewhat a wider concept, but here it is a narrow concept only. Got it? So this is all about internal financial control and internal control over financial reporting. இதெல்லாம் chapter 3 நம்ம படிச்சோம். இது ஏன் திருப்பி gap இருக்காங்கிறது ஓகே மேபி audit evidence ஓட ரிலேட் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்காக நீங்க கொடுத்துட்டாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So this is completely repeated from chapter 3 part. Okay, so with this essay 610 is over. We will meet in next class for Saturday part. Okay, thank you.
No, recording. Just wait. Audit sampling, we are going to see today. Anything else in 610 part? No. 610 and going the object of 610.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, can somebody summarize? Yeah, what is system about?
Internal audit work எப்ப auditor யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம்?
Yeah, exactly. So auditor பாத்தீங்கன்னா he cannot go into every work correctா. So each and every work update detailed பார்க்க முடியாது. So instead of he going in and seeing each and everything, அவர் அந்த entity ல இருக்க internal auditing எப்படி அவரோட auditor செலக்ட் பண்றது யூட்டிலைஸ் பண்ணிக்க போறாரு. So in what are the scenarios the work can be used, in what are the scenarios the work cannot be used, in what are the areas the work lesser of the work can be used. இதெல்லாம் தான் நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிருக்கோம். Okay, so kindly go through that and if you have any doubt please let me know. அடுத்து sampling பார்க்கலாமா?
Yes ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Audit sampling and standard S2030 Polish audit sampling part. So what is audit sampling? It is basically an audit procedure which is to be followed. What is audit procedure? The procedure which you follow or apply to get the evidences, right? So our ultimate objective is always going to be how we are going to get audit evidence. So one such procedure is this audit sampling. So audit sampling and traditional method, what is the basic difference? What is traditional method? Checking the entire population which you have. What is population? Entire class, so the entire population. And we decide what is the evidence which is going to be called the sample. Okay, so yes.
மேம் இந்த வீடியோ வந்து கொஞ்சம் சவுண்ட் இறையுது மேம்.
சவுண்ட் கம்மி பண்ணவா?
எஸ் மேம்.
Okay. Is it okay now?
கோவில அப்படிதான் கேக்குது.
என்னப்பா?
ரெக்கார்ட்
அப்படிதான் மேம் கேக்குது.
இப்பயும் அப்படிதான் கேக்குது.
Is it okay now?
மேம் இப்ப வால்யூம் கம்மியாயிடுச்சுன்னா வீடியோ ரெக்கார்ட் ஆனதுல வாய்ஸை விட சுத்தி இருக்க சவுண்ட் தான் நம்ம அதிகமா எக்கோ அடிக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்கு மேம்.
Okay, so ப்ராப்பரா கேட்க முடியலையோ?
வாய்ஸ் வந்து
வாய்ஸ் விட அந்த சைடுல அந்த ஃபேன் சத்தம் அந்த மாதிரி சைடுல உள்ள சத்தம் நிறைய கேக்குது. வாய்ஸ் ரொம்ப லோவா கேக்குது.
ஆக்சுவலி இந்த வீடியோ தான் நான் ஃபேன் எதுவுமே போடாம ஆடியோ செட்டிங்ஸ் மாத்திட்டு ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணேன்.
ஆனா அது
முன்னாடி எடுத்த வீடியோ ப்ரீவியஸ் கிளாஸோட கண்டினியூஸ் வீடியோ அது.
அது என்ன ஒரு மாதிரி சவுண்ட் சைடுல தான் கேக்குது. வாய்ஸ் ரொம்ப லோவா கேக்குது.
அப்படியா? சரி ஓகே, இப்ப இது நம்ம ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ்ல பாத்துக்கலாம். சண்டே பிளானிங் ஃபார் ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ். இது சுத்தமா ஆடிபிளா இல்லையா இது? யா
கேட்டு பாக்குறோம் மேம். நான் சொல்லி
என்னமா?
இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் வைங்க மேம். கேக்குதா? லாஸ்ட்லயே கொஞ்சம் போக போக கேக்குதான்னு பாக்குறேன்.
ஓகே பாருங்க. if you're not comfortable நம்ம சண்டே ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ் பாத்துக்கலாம். not an issue. ஓகேவா?
ஓகே
எதனா ப்ளீஸ் எடுங்க.
ஓகே
So instead of wasting much of your time in population, it is always better to go for each and every control along with the sampling or the selected out of the operation. Okay? So here, what are the principles and rules? All this we will see. In this audit sampling, we are going to cover all these areas. What is the meaning of audit sampling? What are the approaches are there for audit sampling? And how the sample design is made, how the size is formed, and what is the how do you perform the audit procedure, and if at all there is a deviations of the statement, what is the nature of it, how are you going to project the misstatements, and how are you going to finally evaluate the results of audit sampling. So these will be the area of coverage when it comes to audit sampling. So next one we will discuss while routine checking. Your time extensive checking is going to be there. Watching all the entries, all this are done with traditional method, that is checking your entire population. At the end of the day, you are going to get a reasonable results. Audit has never said what is to be done and how it is to be done. These are the points we discussed during the introduction, so we will go through. The other name or colloquial name for sampling is called as checking. So whoever from not
Can you follow or shall we see the face to face class? Voice take off. Very sorry dear.
எஸ் மேம்.
யா வாய்ஸ் கிளியர் கேக்குதா? அது ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியுதா? இல்லனா ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ் பாத்துக்கலாமா?
ரொம்ப எக்கோவா தான் மேம் இருக்கு.
சோ ஓகே, அப்போ ஃபாலோ பண்ண முடியல ரைட்?
எஸ் மேம்.
ஓகே, we'll see ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ் பா. ஆக்சுவலி இதுதான் போன கிளாஸ் வால்யூம் கம்மியா இருக்குன்னு கேட்டதுனால அதுக்கு செட்டிங்ஸ் மாத்தி எடுத்து ரெக்கார்டிங் தான் இது. ஓகே, நான் பழைய ரெக்கார்டிங் திருப்பி பண்ணி அது மறுபடியும் கேட்கலாம், அது வேஸ்ட் ஆஃப் டைம் தான். ஓகே பா. ஓகே, பேபி சிட்டர் நான் இது பண்ணிட்டதுக்கு அப்புறமேட்டு நம்ம சீட்டிங் ஃபேஸ் டு ஃபேஸ் கிளாஸ் பா. தேங்க் யூ. 6th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் டவுட் இருக்காப்பா?
நோ மேம்.
Okay, then we'll see sampling in face-to-face class.
ஓகே.
Thank you.
Thank you.
தேங்க்யூ.
Yeah.